your front of house is probably costing you new patients, because most staff who work on front of house teams, receptionists, sometimes practice managers, or someone who doubles up as a nurse, they're used to kind of dealing with patients from a handful of sources. So website inquiries, referrals, word of mouth maybe, and existing patients. Now, if someone is a new potential patient and they inquire with you off the back of a campaign you're running, they might not necessarily be ready to buy treatment at that particular point in time. But most front of house teams will follow up with them in the same way as they would any other patient, or perhaps the same way that we're dealing with a recall. Most people will follow up with those inquiries in the same way that they would treat a normal patient. But you're really missing a trick, because generally speaking, most receptionists or front of house teams will try to call the patient. 80% of the time they won't pick up because they might be busy or doing other things. Then they'll leave a voicemail, 90% of which get unreturned. And then they'll send an email, only 22.5% of which actually get read. And then they'll leave it at that. And they'll think, actually, you know what? If the patient is really interested, they'll contact us again when they want to go ahead. The truth is, you're leaving a huge amount of money on the table if you're not following up with those patients more. People are busy, they get on with their lives, they have other things to do. Maybe they're going tile shopping, or maybe they're buying a house, or maybe they're getting a new car, or they're going on holiday next week. That doesn't mean that they're not interested, and they could be a very valuable lead for, let's say, a full art of implants or maybe teeth straightening. So by just leaving that voicemail and sending them an email, you're leaving money on the table and you're not getting that person in. Ideally, you should be following up with patients as quickly as possible, but also persistently. At the end of the day, they've inquired for treatment, so you're perfectly within your rights to follow up with them. At the end of the day, your front of house is actually making a sales call. It's a sales process that you're entrusting to your staff, so it's important that you treat it that way. So we always recommend following up 6 to 8 times, maybe more if required, on a regular basis until you eventually get the patient in. Now, don't worry about being annoying or persistent. If you deliver the message in the right way and you follow up persistently, quite often people will appreciate that you've stayed in touch with them and you followed up when that thing hits the top of their mind again. So don't be afraid to follow up, and consider your front of house and what training they might need in order to make that sales call, in order to have that conversation with the prospective patients. The chances are, by making some small adjustments, you'll be able to get way more patients into the dental chair.